Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Suli. In this tutorial, we're going to learn to create a simple e-commerce website using React.js. We're going to be building all of this using React. So this is the home page of the website that we're going to build. In the home page, we have this fixed navigation bar here. So if you scroll down, you can see the navigation bar is fixed irrespective of where you scroll to. Okay, we have this navigation bar that has the company logo. We have these links right here. We have the cart icon and the account icon. Okay, also on the hero section, which is inside the home page, we have two sides. The left side has this captivating text right here, and the right side has this fashionista image. We have this as well. It's showing that the company offers free shipping. They have 247 support and they have secure payments with icons describing what it is. Okay, so this is the hero section. Then if we scroll down a bit, we have the product list. These are all the products. So for each product, we have the product image, the title of the product, and the price of the product. It's a button that says add to cart. Okay, so we have all of that for each of the products. These are all the products available in the product list. So if you hover any of the products, you can see the image becomes larger a little bit. So if you hover this, if you hover any of the product image, it becomes larger. We're going to work on that when we start coding. We have the product title here, and we have the price also. We have this button, and when you hover it, it shows this color. It's a transparent button with a little red at the border. So if you hover on it, you're going to see the full color of the button. Okay, we have this footer as well in our home page. As you can see, this is the footer in the home page. So let's go back to the beginning. In our navigation section, we have this cart. Okay, so I can click on this cart. As you can see in the cart icon, it shows that there is zero quantity, like there's nothing in the cart right now. So if I click on this cart, you can see your cart is empty. On this cart page as well, as you can see in the cart summary, the item is zero, the subtotal is zero, shipping is free, that's what we use it for, and promo code. We're going to come back to all of this later. But right now you can see that the cart is empty because we have zero item. Okay, this is what we have in the cart page. We have this text here for shopping cart, we have the item showing the number of items that are in the cart, and we have this icon here that you can use to clear the entire cart. So if I go back to the home page, okay, let me add an item to carts. So I can add this item to cart. You see there's a difference. It has updated right here that we have one item in the cart. If I click on this cart page, you can see this is the item that we've added in the cart. It has the image, it has the quantity, the price, and the total. Let me navigate back and add another image, another item to the cart. I can add any item of my choice. I can decide to add this. As you can see, this is updated also. We have two items in the cart. So you see, we have two items in the cart, as the same right here. We can also decide to add any item of our choice. You see this is updated, this is updated. Now we have 5 items in the cart, we have 6 items in the cart, 7, 8, 9, 10, as much as we like. We can add as much as we like, and this is the cart page that is showing the entire items that we've added in the cart. Okay, so let's go through this cart page together. So let's start from the beginning. We can decide to clear our cart using this button. So if I click on this button, everything in the cart would be removed and it will display your cart is empty. Okay, let me go back and add another item to the cart. Let me add like 3 more items. I click on the cart page. As you can see, these 3 items have already been added to the cart, and we have the prices of each item is $130 because we have one. The quantity here is 1. The total is going to be $130. So I can decide to increase the quantity of this particular item. So if I increase the quantity, you can see here the price has doubled. I increased it to 3. The price has doubled. If I reduce it, the price has reduced. Okay, the price of each item is $130. If we multiply it by the quantity, which is 2, that gives us a total of $260. Okay, we can do that for this as well. As you can see, I can decide to increase it to as much as I like, and the item here will also be updated because we have 2. The quantity here is 2, the quantity here is 5, and the quantity here is 1. 2, 5 is 7, plus 1 is 8. That is why we have this item as 8, and the prices remains the same, but the total is going to be different because we have 2 items here, and each price is $130. 130 times 2 will give us $260. We have 5 items here times $130 gives us $650. Okay, we have an item here, and the price goes for $130, and the total is also going to be $130 because 130 times 1 is 130. So the entire total for these 3, okay, is going to be 1,040 because we have 260, 650, and 130. The total cost is 1,040. So in the cart summary right here, We have the items. How many items do we have? We have 8. We have the subtotal. The subtotal is 1040. Shipping is free according to this company. You can decide to make your shipping not free. You can decide to add like a price for the shipping. But right here, shipping is free. And this is the checkout button right here. Okay, so this is everything in the cart. So for this cart as well, for each, so you can remove each item from the cart. So if I click on this remove, that item has been removed from our cart. If I click on this as well, that item has been removed from the cart. If I click on this, we have an empty cart. Okay. Another thing about this that we can do that we're going to learn is viewing the detail of our item. So if I click on the, I can get the detail of this item. On the left hand side, we have the image, and on the right hand side, we have the details of the image, the title, the price, and a little write up here about this item. And we have a button to add to cart. Okay, if I click on this button, it will be added to our cart page. Okay, so I can go back and still try to get the detail of another item. I can decide to not click on the image, just the title again, and it will still redirect me to this page, to the product details page. Okay, on the left hand side we have the image, and on the right hand side we have the details. So if I click on add to cart, it has been added to our cart. Okay, there's something else we need to check. So if I click on this item, let's see right here, you can see this is just local hosts. So if I click on this item, it's showing us this URL. So this is what stands as the URL right now for these products, and this is the 8th product in our object. Okay, so if I click on, let's say this is the 12th product we have in stock. Okay, let's say I click on this is the 9th product we have in stock. So basically, that's what we're going to be learning in this tutorial. So let's get started. Open your VS Code. I'm on my VS Code right now. Before we start anything, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like the video if you like what you're watching. Thank you. So navigate to the terminal. By your terminal, click on new terminal. Change directory to your desktop. I have a folder for YouTube project, so I'm going to change directory to YouTube project. You can change your directory to whichever folder you want to store your file. Click enter, then run this command. The name of our file is going to be my Ecommerce. So this command is going to create a React app for you. Click enter. Now you have to follow this step. So I'll change directory to this Ecommerce. Then I'll run this command. As you can see, it is installing. Let me make this larger so you can see it clearly. After I've successfully installed, navigate to the file, click on open folder. You have the folder, navigate to desktop. If you remember, what we did here is we changed directory to desktop, then we changed to YouTube project. So I'll look for YouTube projects, and here we named it my Ecommerce. So I'm just going to look for my Ecommerce, then select the folder. So I'm on the Ecommerce folder. I'm going to cancel this. Then I'm going to clean up my code. First, I need to change this title in the HTML. The name of the shop is ShopX. So I'm going to enter this, cancel this as well. Open this. I'm going to delete this because I'm not going to make use of it. Then I'll clean up my app.jsx as well. Control A, delete. I'll be using REFC to create a functional React app. So to use REFC, you need to have this extension. AS7 React Redux React Native extension. So this extension allows you to create a functional React app without having to type it manually. So with RFC, I was able to create all of this. So you need to install it. I close this extension tab and I'll continue with my code. Then we have this index.css, which is our global CSS. I'm going to clean this up as well and delete. So for my entire code, I want to set the margin to 0, padding as well to 0. Then for any link tag, I don't want any decoration. So text decoration, I'll set it to none. And also for any list item, I'll set the list out to none. Okay, so we're done with that. I need to close it up. So let's see if our code is working. Here we have app. So navigate to your terminal, click on new terminal, then you run this code. So click on this. As you can see, this is working perfectly well. So let me go back and change. So I'm going to make this smaller. Let me change this to hello world and let's see. See, it has changed. So that means our React app is working. The next step is to install every necessary dependencies that we'll be using, which is React icon and React router DOM. So we'll go back to our browser, click on new tab, type in React icon. Here as well, React router DOM. So this is React router DOM. I'm just going to, once you're on this page, just come here, copy this, go back to the terminal. You can open a new terminal if you want. I'm going to open a new terminal. Then paste what you just copied. Click enter, go back. So we're trying to install React icon as well. So once you're on the page, click on this, create another one. So this is already installing, as you can see. So for the second, paste it as well, React icon, then click on enter. So this has fully installed. This is yet to install. So while this is installing in the SRC, so I'm going to create components and pages. So I have components, I have pages. In my component, I'm going to have, so the React icon has installed properly. So I can close this navigation. So in my component, I'm going to have navbar. So we have the navbar folder. I will create the Euro folder as well. The products list folder. I'll create the cart folder, the footer folder, and shop context folder. Then in my pages, I'll have the home page folder, and I'll have the product details folder. So for each of the folders I've created, I'm going to create the JSX and CSS file for each. So this is going to have cat.jsx and cat.css. Okay, so in the JSS file, I'll use REFC, which is that I showed earlier, that is used to create a functional React app. So I'll pause this video and create the JSX and CSS folder for all of the folders that I created. I've created the JSX and CSS file for each of these. Okay, so I'm just going to close this. Then also, I need to create my data file. So I'm going to have data.jsx. So I'm going to paste what I copied from my document. That is the data we're going to be using throughout. So this is an array of objects. The array name is product data, which is what are stored all of the objects that we'll be using. So we have the ID, we have the image, we have the title, we have the price, the category, and the description. Okay, so we have about 17 products here with images, prices, and title, and I've imported all of the images. Okay, I've also copied all of this image. I have them here already. I have all of the images here. This is the Euro image. These are the images that we'll be making use of. Everything is in our asset file. So let's get to work. So I'm going to start with the navbar. I'll open my navbar folder, open the JSX file, and this is what we'll be working with. Okay, I'm going to delete this. Then I'll create a div tag with the class name of navbar. Then another div tag with the class name of logo. Inside this logo, we're going to have an h2 tag, which will take the name of the shop text. Then I'll create another div tag with the class name of link. Then the link, we're going to have a list. We're having 4 list items. So the first one is going to be home. The second one is going to be products. The third is going to take contacts. And the last one is going to take use app. Then I'll create another div tag and give it a class name of nav icon wrapper. So also I'm going to have another div tag for the carts. I did not give it a class name, so I'm going to give it a class name of nav carts. Remember, we've installed React icon, so I'm just going to use carts here, and then the icon, I'm going to select whichever icon I want. So I want this icon here. Because I've installed React icon, this is going to show up here. So I'm going to give this a class name of nav icon. Then I'll close it. Then we're going to have a p tag, a paragraph tag, with a class name of nav carts amount, which is going to display the quantity of whatever we have in our carts. So this I'm just going to set it to 0. Then after this, I'm going to have another icon for user. So I'm going to select this. As you can see, this has been added. Then I'll close the tag. I'm using the same class name for both, so I'm just going to copy and paste this right here. So this is our navigation bar. Then I'll go back to the app and render the navbar component. So here I'll have navbar, but I'm going to click on this. So we have our navbar. So let's go to our browser and see if our navbar is working. As you can see, the navbar is already showing. We have everything, the logo, the lists, and the icons. So let's style it. I'll open my CSS file. Before I start styling, I need to import the CSS file into the CSS file. /navbar.css. So I'm starting with this. So because it's a class, I'm going to use dots in my CSS. So I'll set the padding to 30 pixels. Padding inline of 80 pixels. Display will take flex. Justify content, space between. Let us see. So this is what we have now. Back to our JSX file. We're going to style the link. The list item in the link. This is going to display flex as well. The gap, I'll give it a gap of 20 pixels. So the gap between each of these is going to be 20 pixels. So for the list item itself, I'm going to copy and paste this. The font size is going to take 18 pixels. The font weight will be 600. Text transform will be uppercase. Then for our nav icon wrapper, display will be flex. Then for the nav icon itself, each of the icon, let me copy it again. Nav icon. The font size will be 34 pixels. And the margin left will be 35 pixels. Now for the nav cards, display will be flex. Position will set it to relative. And cursor will be pointer. Let me set the cursor to pointer for the entire navbar. Now to the nav cart amount, which is going to display the quantity of what we have in our cart. The background color, I'll set it to this color code. Position will be absolute. Right to pick -8 pixels. The font size is going to be 12 pixels. Height will be 20 pixels. And the width will be 20 pixels as well. The color of the text is going to be white. The border radius will take 50%. The display is going to be flex. Justify content is going to be center. And we'll align the items to the center. So let's see what we have in our browser. This is what we currently have in our browser, and it's the same as what we're trying to build. So this is what we have. Let me cancel this. we're done installing them. So this is what we have in our browser. This is what we're trying to build. As you can see, it is the same thing. Next thing we need to work on is this hero section. So I'm going to cancel this, close this folder, then open the hero folder. And I have my JSX file for my hero. I'm going to delete this, create a div tag with the class name of hero. So we're going to have top and bottom. So I'll create a div tag for hero top. Then I'll create another div tag for hero bottom. This is the top, and this is the bottom of our hero section. So the top has two sides, the left and the right side. The left side has this captivating text, while the right side has this image, while the bottom has this. Okay. So for the top, I'll create two div tags for left and right, another div tag for right. So on the left side, we're going to have an H2 tag that will take this text, elevate your wardrobe. So I'm going to paste this here. I'm going to have another H1 tag that is going to take this text, discover timeless style and unmatched comfort. Then I'll paste it here. Then we'll have a paragraph tag that will take this text as well. I'll paste that right here. Then in the right section, let me have hero right, because we're going to be having more left and right. So in the right section, we're going to have our image. This is the image we're working with, this hero image right here. So I need to import this image into our JSX file. Import, I'm going to name it hero image from our asset folder. And the name of the image is hero.png. So I'm going to copy this, use the curly braces and paste it here. Okay, and the alt name is going to be hero image. Okay, let me cancel this. Let's start this top section of the hero first before we move to the bottom. So I'll open my hero.css. I need to import my CSS file into my JSS file. So import the / hero.css. Then also, right here, this particular page here, everything in this page is our own page. Okay, so that means that our hero section is in our own page. Our product list is in our own page. The footer and the nav bar is present in all pages. Okay, let's say I want to check the detail of this page. As you can see, the navigation bar is present here, the footer is present here. Okay, so our hero section has to be in the home page. So I'm going to go to the home page and render the hero component there. So here I'll delete this, and we're going to have the hero. So I'll hit tab. So our hero section is in our home page. So another thing we need to do is on this app.jsx, we're going to use React router DOM to route to different sections in our website. Okay, so here I'm going to have route. Oh, sorry, Control Z. So this is route, the route container. This is the route container that we use to define different routes in our application. Okay, so I'm going to have our route. Close this tag. Then the part here, the parts. Okay, we are here to, okay, let me import. I need to import routes and routes from React router DOM. So I'm going to import routes and routes from React router DOM. So this is supposed to be routes. This is supposed to be routes. So the part here is going to take this, and the element we're going to render here is going to be our own page. I'm going to explain that very soon. Then I'll close this tag. Let me import our own page from pages. Okay, so here's what I did. I use this route container. So I'll use this route container to define different routes in our application. Then here I use the route itself to map the paths. So this / here is going to lead us to our base URL, which is the home page that I just rendered in the elements here. Okay, so now if we view our home page on the browser, which is the base URL, we're going to see this home page. And within the home page, we already have our hero section here. So let's see what I'm trying to explain. But before that, we need to wrap our root file, which is this main.jsx. We need to wrap this. We need to wrap the browser router around it. Okay. So I'm just going to cut this, Control X. Then I'm going to have browser router. Then I'll paste what I cut earlier. Okay. I'm also going to import the browser router from React Router DOM. Browser router from React Router DOM. So we've wrapped our app around the browser router. That means that we can route to different, like we can define different routes in our application. Okay. So I'm just going to cancel this. So our app.jsx, we have our navigation bar already. We have these routes which serve as a container to define different routes in our application. And we've used route here to map to different parts. So this is the base URL. And the element we want to render in the base URL is our home page. Like what our user is going to see in our base URL is going to be our home page. And in the home page, we have this hero section here. So let's see what we have on the browser. So this is what we have in the browser. And this is what we have in the hero section. Okay. So let's go back here. In our hero section, we have in our home page section, we have the hero section and we have the products list in our home page. So that's what we're trying to do here as well. We have this in our hero section. Let's style it. So I'm going to close this home page for now. Then I'll open our hero.css. Before we can start styling, we need to import. I've done that here already. So I'm starting with this top section, our hero. So the height, I'm going to define the height, 100 VH. Then we'll start with hero top. The display is going to be flex. Padding inline of 100 pixels. That should be okay. The gap is going to be 20 pixels. Justifying contents, space between. Remember we have the left and right section in our hero. For the left section, the max width is going to be 50%. And the margin top is going to be 100 pixels. We have an H2 tag in the left. So I'll set the font size to 30 pixels. We have an H1 tag as well. I'll set the font size to 4.5 rem. Margin top is going to take 10 pixels. We have a P tag as well. So the font size of this is going to be 18 pixels. Margin top of 15 pixels should do it. And the color is going to take this color code. So this is what we have. Now we need to resize this image. The image is in the right section. So I'll copy this and paste. The width, I'll set it to 640 pixels. The height will take 500. Object fits will be contain. Let's see. You can see. So this image is quite smaller than this. And this text. So right here in the arrow button, I'm going to have another div tag. And I'll give the class name of hero contents. Contents. This div tag is going to have another div tag for info icon. Okay. And in this icon, we're going to use our React icon. So we need a shipping icon. SHI. The P is double. So it's going to suggest several shipping icons for us, and we're just going to choose whichever one we want. So we have this shipping fast. I'm going to choose this. Then close the icon and give it a class name of hero CC icon. Let me just give it this class name. Then I'll create another div tag for the detail. Div.detail. On the detail, we're going to have an h3 tag for free shipping and a paragraph element that will take. Okay, so basically this is what we need. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it twice. 1, 2. Then I'll change the content in it. So this free shipping, this second free shipping is going to have 247 supports. And this is going to take full support on process. And this one is going to take your payment is secure. This is going to be secure payments. The icons, I'm going to change them also. So this is not going to have this icon. This is going to have the support icon. So React icon has suggested some icons for us. I want this first icon. Then this payments as well. We're going to use the payment icon. So React icon is going to suggest several payment icons. Then we can just choose from whichever one we want. I'm using this first one. Remember, we give the first icon a class name. So I'll copy this and paste it here. Copy and paste here. So our hero section is now complete. We just need to style this entire bottom section. So this is it right here in our browser. We're going to style it for it to look like this. So let's style. So I'll start by copying this hero button, paste it here. Then write the CSS properties. So display is going to be flex. Justify content, space between, margin top of 80 pixels. The width will be 80%, so it's going to take 80% of our screen. The padding is going to take 25 pixels. Margin left is going to have 7 rem. The border radius is going to take 10 pixels. And the box shadow, there is a shadow, so this is going to take -1 pixel, 11 pixel, 24 pixels, 11 pixel, and this color code 196, 196, 196, and we have 0.75. So this is the color code that we want. So this is what we have now. Then for the contents, we're going to style the contents. So for this content, the display will be flex as well, and the gap will be 25 pixels. So for this icon, I want to style this, the icon itself. This is the icon container. Okay, so I want to style the icon itself. So I'm going to copy and paste it here. The font size for the icon is going to be 44 pixels. The color will be red. Now for the detail, area contents. For the detail, the h3 tag in the detail. The font size is going to be 22 pixels. And the paragraph tag in the detail as well. The font size is going to be 10 pixels. And the color is going to take this color code. So this is what we have. Our hero section is complete and it's looking exactly like this. So right now, in the one with the complete project, if you scroll down a little bit, you can see that the hero section is fixed, the navigation section is fixed, and it has this shadow right here. We're going to work on that very soon, as you can see it. But let's get all of this first. Let's work on the product lists and the cards before we move to that, because that is very simple. So let's work on the product list. So I'm going to cancel this hero. We're done with the hero section. We're going to work on the product lists. Before we work on the product list, we need to create our shop context. Okay, so we need to first understand what shop context is before we start making use of shop context. Shop context is used to manage and share states across different components without needing to pass through every level of the component trees. Okay, so the context is a feature that allows you to share value between components without having to pass props down through each level of your component tree, like without having to pass props down each level when you need to use the data. So it's used for global state management, where many components, like any component you have in your app, can have access to the same data. So in this case, we want to work on the product data. So if we have our product data in our shared context, any of these components can have access to the product data without having to pass props down through each level. Okay. And in our shared context as well, we're going to have our shopping carts. We're going to work on that when we get to the cart page. But for now, all we're trying to do is to work on product lists. So that's why we need shop context. So basically, what shop context does, or any kind of context, is just to manage and share related states, like the product list or data, cart items, etc., across multiple components. So it centralizes state management and it makes it easy for any component in the app, any of the components here in the app, to access and update the data without needing to pass props through each component in the tree. So I believe that should explain what shop context is. So let's get started with the code. The first thing I'm going to do is to import the context hook and the use state hooks. So let's work on that. So let's import React first, then the context hook, the use context from React. Okay. Then I'm going to import the, oh sorry, that was a mistake. Control Z, Control Z. I'm going to import the create context, sorry. Create context and use states from React. The next thing I need to do is to create the context. So we're going to have export const shop context. Okay, so I just created the context that we'll be using in any of the app. The data we want to share across all components is this our product data. Okay, so we'll be able to use it in any of our components if we have it in our shop context. So I'm going to import the product data as well. I'm going to import product data from this data file, right? Then the next thing I need to do is to create the shop context provider. I need to define the shop context provider and I'll name it shop context provider. So shop context provider. So this will take a bracket and I'll provide the states to its children component. So this is going to take children. And this, we're going to create our product states. Before we create our product states, we need to return shop context dot provider. So we're going to return this, okay, and it's going to have children. So in the shop context dot provider, we're going to pass this value as props. So we're going to pass, we're here to insert the value because we're here to create the state for it. Okay, so we're working on product data. I'm going to create the state here. So I'll create a state variable for products. So here is going to have product states. So we're going to have const products. And I'll also create a setter function for products that will update the product when we make use of it. And our use state here is going to be our product data. So here we're going to have product data. This is what we're making use of. Okay. So this return statement is supposed to be inside this. Alright. So that was a mistake earlier. Feel free to correct yours. Then the last thing we need to do is to export our shop context provider. Shop context provider. This. Okay. So let me explain the little magic that I did here. First, I imported our React, then the create context hook and the use state hook to manage states. Next thing I did is context creation, which is this line here. So I created a new context called the shop context, okay, so that I can make use of our context in any components without props drilling. And then another thing I did was to import our product data from this data file, which contains an array of objects, okay. So back to the shop context. And here I created the product states. Okay, I created the state variable for product. I named the product and I created a setter function and I gave it a name set products. And it's going to update the products whenever I use the product data. Okay, and then right here I will return the shop context dot provider that wraps around the children components and pass the value prop that will contain the states and the function that we'll be making use of. So right here, we're going to pass the product value as props, products as props. So our shop context is all set. All right. But before we can make use of the shop context, before any of all of these components can have access to the data in the shop context, we have to wrap it around our root file. So I'm going to cut this, Ctrl X, and then I'm going to have shop context provider. Okay, then I'll paste what I cut initially. So we've wrapped our, so I'm just trying to make this look better. Okay, so we've wrapped our app in shop context. Okay, so that means that any file, any components can have access to our shop context. Okay, to our shop data. That's what we're trying to do. Now we can now work on our product lists. So our product list is a component. So you can now get data directly from the shop context without having to drill props, without having to pass props. Okay, so let's start by creating our product list. I'm going to import, okay, right here. I'm going to import the use context because we're going to be using it. Okay, so use context will be here. Then I'm going to import shop context because that's the context that we're using. So let's import shop context from shop context. Then we need to extract our products from the shop context. Okay, so we're going to have const products will be equal to use context, and the context we're using is shop context. Okay, so this is our product here. Now let's start the main code. I just imported our shop context and we've extracted our product from our shop context. So let me just have this here. Now let's start with the code. First, I'm going to create a div tag and give it the class name of product lists. We're going to have an h2 tag for, I need to contain this, elegant collection. Then I'll create another div tag and give the class name of product grid. So now I'm going to map through these products here, okay, and I iterate over each of the products in the product array. Remember that I extracted these products from our shop context. So let us map through the products and iterate over each product array. So here we'll open a curly braces, products dot map. Then here we're going to pass products and create a little, okay. So we just mapped through the products that we extracted. Next thing we need to do is to destructure products. Like we need to select what we're using in our product data. So in this data, we have the ID, we have the image, we have title, we have price, we have category, and we have description. But currently in our product lists, let's go to our product lists. The things that we need here is the image, the title, the price, and this button here. So here we're going to destructure what we need. So let me have this comment, the structure, products. This is it right here. We need the ID, image, title, and price. And all of these will be in what? Products. And we're going to return another div tag, and I'll give it a class name of products card. So in the product card, we're going to have our image. So this is going to take a curly braces, and here we're going to replace this with image. Then I'll create another div tag, and I'll give it a class name of product info. So we'll have an h4 tag for title. Then we'll have a paragraph tag, a dollar sign first, then curly braces for price. So what we destructured here, we're going to use our ID. Okay. So here I'm going to pass in this product card here, in this div tag, I'm going to pass the key as products.id. Okay. So the key is going to be a unique key for each product based on the ID. So this is going to have key will be equal to products.id. Okay. Sorry, the key is just going to be the ID, not product.id. I made a mistake. Okay, so the key is going to be ID alone because we want to get each product based on their ID. Okay. Then after this product info, within the product card, within the button, to add to carts. Okay, so we're going to have add to carts. So this is the button here for add to carts. Remember I said earlier that this is our own page. Our own page has the hero section and the product list. So I'm going to render the product list in the home page. So here, let me just cancel this main.jsx and the data. I'll navigate to the home page and render the product list components, product lists in our home page. So this is everything here in the home page. All we just need to do is to style it. All right, let's style. So I'm going to close this home page component, then open the product lists. So here I'm going to import the CSS. So I'll import product lists for CSS. So I'm going to start with this. The max width is going to be 1200 pixels. Margin is going to take this value. Padding is going to be 20 pixels. Text align, I wanted the text in the center. And the margin top is going to be 80 pixels. Then we have an H2 tag in the product list. So the font size is going to be 2rem. The color is going to take this color code. Margin bottom is going to be 20 pixels. Let us see. This is what we have now. Everything is in the center. Now for the grid layouts. The display is going to be grid. Now grid template column, we're going to have repeats, autofill, main max of 250 pixels on FR. Okay, so this is it. And I'll add a gap of 20 pixels. Now for the product card itself. The background is going to be white. The border is going to take 1 pixel solid with this color code. The border radius is going to be 8 pixels. And the padding 15 pixels. Transition, we're going to use transform 0.2 seconds is in out. Now for the product info, now let's start with the product image first. So this image, I'm going to give it the class name of product image. So I'll copy this, not that, I'll copy this, come here and paste it here. The max width is going to be 100%. Border radius, 8 pixels should do it. Margin bottom will take 10 pixels. The height 250. And transform on a scale of 0.9. Yeah. Transition. Guys, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And also code this along. Don't watch alone. It is not a comedy show. Try and code along. Then the next thing we need to work on is the hover effects. So when you hover on it, transform scale 1. Okay, so this is what we currently have. So if you hover on it, you can see this is working as it should. Next is to work on the product info at the bottom. So for the product info, the H4 tag in the product info, the font size is going to be 1.2, the margin 10 pixels, 0 and 5 pixels. The color is going to be this color code. Then the paragraph tag, which is taking the price, the font size is going to be 1, and the color will take this color code. Then our button here, let me give the class name of add to cart. So I'll copy this and paste it here. So add to cart, the display will be block. Width is going to be 100%. Padding of 10 pixels. Background of white. The color, the text color will be black. And the border will be 1 pixel solid with this color code. The border radius is going to be 5 pixels. I just want a little curve. The cursor is pointer. Font size of the text is 1 rem. Margin top will be 10 pixels. And transition, the background color 0.3 second is in out. So when you work on the over effect also, over, so the background color is going to take those color codes. So let's see what we have. Okay, I think there's a bit problem. Why is our text not showing? Okay, there's a problem with the color, so I'm just going to remove 10. So this is it. As you can see, it's exactly as what we have already. It's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. So let us compare and contrast to see what next we need to work on. So right here, if you hover any of this, if you check this part, this bottom side here, you can see there is this, like, okay, let's just click on it. But if you check this bottom side, you can see localhost 5173/product/1. That means that this is like a URL. So if you click on the image, you can see the product details. So if I click on this, you can see the product detail. Okay. If I click on this as well, you can see the product detail. Okay, so this means that this image, the text, the title, and the price as well serves as a link to see the product detail. Okay, so let us work on that and what we're trying to do. So let me cancel this product list.css. Now we'll go back to our routing system because this is routing basically. Okay, if you click on any image or any title, it routes us to a different section. Okay, so That is what we want to do here. So I'll create another route, close this. So the part here, okay, for this is what we want to do now. This particular route that would lead us to the home page is a dynamic segment that's going to take an ID, because we want to click on the product. Let's say we want to click on a particular product and we want it to take us to the detail of that product. So we're using the ID for the product by using the product ID. So the product ID is like a placeholder. Okay. So here we're going to have parts / products / column, and the placeholder is what? ID. And the element we want to render here is our product detail. Okay. Product detail, which we got from these pages. Okay, product details. So I just need to import product details from pages dot / pages / product details / this product details. Okay, so this is product details here. So this route, the placeholder is the ID. So now we can now link it in our product lists. Okay, so basically here the image can lead us to the product detail. Okay, the title can lead us to the product detail, and the price can lead us to the product detail. So that means that our link tag will wrap around the info. Let me show you. So we want to wrap our link tag around this, because we want that if the user clicks on the image, it leads them to the product detail. If the user clicks on any of the detail in the product info, which is the title and the price, it leads them to the product info as well. So I'm just going to cut this, Ctrl X. Okay, then I'm going to use the link tag, link. Oh, no, I want an uppercase. So I'll use the link tag. Let me import link first before anything. Import link. So I'm going to have import link from React Router DOM. Okay, so we can make use of this link tag. Then what I cut earlier, I'm going to paste it back into this link. Now we need to define where the link will take us to. So I'll use the tool. Okay, so it's going to be products. Okay, the / products / we're going to have $sign, but I'm going to open a curly braces here that will take product.id. Okay, and the key as well is going to take product.id. Okay, so why do we have this error? Let us see why. Okay, so this is supposed to be outside, not inside this. Okay, so this is supposed to be outside, not inside those statements. Okay, so we have it here, it is working. We have the link tag from React Router DOM, and we want all of this to link to the product details based on the ID. Remember that here, this is what we have. Okay, we're using our ID as a placeholder, and the element to render is the product details. Okay, let's see if it's working. So we're here, let us test it out. Let me click on the first image. You can see it's showing product details, and we have the first product. Okay, so let us try this as well. You can see this is the 8th product, and we have these product details here. So let's give this a try as well. This is the 12th product. You can see that it is working perfectly well. It's not just the image. You can click on the title, you can click on the price, and it's going to lead you to the product image. This add to cart, we're going to work on it later, that when the user clicks on this add to cart button, it's going to add it directly. It's going to add the item in the cart. We're going to work on the cart very soon. So this is actually working right now. So this is working well. The next thing we need to work on is our cart section. So I'm going to close this up and then begin with our carts. So before we start with our carts, let me route it here. Okay, we need to render our carts component. So the route, let me close this element. So the part here is going to take cards. Card is going to be the placeholder, and the elements we want to, the component we want to render here is going to be the cards component. Okay. So here as well, I'm going to import cards from our components. Cards. Okay. Now we can now work on our cards page itself. So let's start with this cards now. Now I'll create a div tag and give the class name of cards container. Then within the cards container, we're going to have the left side and the right side. So we're going to have cart left and cart right. Okay, here is supposed to be dots cart left, and we're going to have cart right as well. So let me show you what we're trying to do actually. This is the cart right. We have this left hand side and the right hand side. The left hand side is what contains all of this, and the right hand side is for the cart summary. Okay. So let's start with the left. On the left side, we have the cart header. For the cart header, we have an H1 tag that has shopping carts. There is another H1 tag for items that's going to take the amount, which is in brackets. So for now, I'm just going to set this to 1. We're going to put the amount later. Then we also have an icon for trash, like to trash the entire cart. So I'm going to use trash, and the last icon is going to suggest the whichever one I want. So I'm going to pick this other one. Let me see. I'm going to pick this one, the second one here, and I'll give it a class name of delete cards because I'll be using it when I want to style it. Okay, so that's for the first header. We're going to have the second header. So in the second header, we are going to have first pans. I'll use first pan tag. So let me separate each of the span tag. So the first one is going to take product description. The second is going to take the quantity. The third is going to take price. And the last one is going to take total. Okay. Then after this, inside this, the left side of our cart page, we're going to have our cart items. Okay, we're going to work on the cart items. So we'll create another component for cart items here. But before that, now let us see this, like all of these that we've built. If we head over to this, okay, so this is not working yet because we're yet to route it in our navbar. So I head over to the navbar and create a link tag to route the carts in the cart icon. So now to the navigation bar here, I'm going to import link from React Pattern. Okay, so this particular cart icon with the amount, everything is going to be inside the link. We're going to wrap the link around it. So I'm going to use Ctrl X. Let me cut this out. Then here, I'm going to have link tag, close it, then enter, and I'm going to paste this back. So now we're going to route it to our carts. So this is going to take /cart. Okay, so let's see it in action. So this is it in action. This is the cart page. So when you click on this icon, this is where you're going to see the shopping cart that we created earlier, items, this trash icon, the product description, quantity, and price. Okay, so this is showing a bit of another color. This is not black, so we're going to set it later. Now on our cart page, you can view our cart page. Now let's continue. This is working already. So the next thing we have now is to get the cart detail. So I'm going to create another div tag for cart detail. Then here in the cart detail, I'm going to render this component, the cart detail component. We're going to create this cart detail component. Okay, so I'm going to head over to the cart folder and then create cart details.gsx file. So this is going to take RAFC to create a shortcut. Okay, so this is it. We're going to work on the cart details very soon. For now, we've rendered the cart details right here. Okay, so now we need to work on the right hand side of the cart, which contains the cart summary. So I'm going to use an H2 tag here, and I'll name it cart summary. Then we're going to have a div tag for the summary item. Inside the summary item, okay, before this, we should have cart summary itself. So I'm going to have Ctrl X, but cart summary. Then we're not going to have the summary item. All right. So in the summary item, we have the item itself. Let's see. Here we have the item itself. We have the subtotal, we have the shipping, and we have the promo code. So before anything, you remember that we imported this component. We are yet to define it here. So we're going to import cart details. Okay, so we have it here now. Then we can now continue with what we're doing earlier. Now for the summary item, we're going to use a span tag. I'm going to have two span tags here. The first one is going to take items, and the second one is going to take the quantity, which is the item amount. So I'm going to set this to 0. Then I'm going to create another summary item. So in this summary item, we're going to have the subtotal and the figure, the value. So the first one is going to have subtotal. Then the second span tag is going to have, okay, that's a mistake. The second one is going to have the total itself. So I'm going to set it to 0 also. We're going to change the value very soon. Then the third summary item is going to take the shipping. I need to span tab. So this is shipping. And the second one is going to take free because for this particular website, shipping is free. Then we're going to have another summary item. And that is going to take the promo code. So we're going to have span tag for promo code. Then we're going to have the input tag, and we're going to input text. Okay, so the place owner, for now, I don't need the name and ID, so I'm going to, that is not our priority. So the place owner is going to be enter your code. We're going to have a button. And the button is going to be apply. Okay, the button will have a class name as well for apply button. Alright, then after this summary item, we're going to have another summary item, but this is going to take the total costs. So the summary item for the total costs, okay, I'm going to use two span tags as well. So the first one is going to take total costs, and the second element is going to take the total. So I'm just going to replace it with 0 because we're yet to get the total costs. Then after all of this, we're going to have the button for checkout. So I'm giving it a class name of checkout button, and it's going to say checkout. So this is everything right here. This is the shopping cart, this is the item, this is products, description, quantity. This is the cart detail, which is going to contain our cart items. And this is for the left hand side, the cart summary, the items, the subtotal, shipping fee, promo code, total cost, and the checkout button. Okay, so let us work on the cart details. So for the cart details is going to contain the image of the cart, the cart detail basically is going to contain the image of the cart, the quantity of the item, the title. Let me show you what I mean by cart detail. Let me add an item to cart here. So this is the cart details. Okay, we already have this cart page itself. I'm here to style it. That's why it's looking like this. But this is the cart details. We have the image, we have the title, the quantity, the price, total, and all of that. Okay, so before anything, we need to work on the cart context. Okay, So I'm going to open our cart context. Maybe we should work on this cart details first, but we're going to need information. We're going to need data from our cart context. So let us work on the context first. So the first thing to do here is to create our cart states. So here I'm going to create cart states. So I'll initialize the cart state as an empty array to store items added to the cart. So here is going to contain an empty array. Then I'm going to create another state variable and a setter function for amount, which is going to track the quantity. Okay, so the state variable I'm going to create for amount states. So let us create for amount. We're going to have item amount and a setter function that will update the amount of items we have in our cart. The use states, I'm going to initialize it with 0. Okay, this amount is going to track the total number of items in our carts. This is going to track the total number of items we have in our carts. Then we also need to track the total price of all the items in our carts. So I'm going to create the total price states. I'm going to initialize it with 0 as well. Now, let's start the main work. First off, we need to get the total amount of all the items that we're going to have in our cart. So I'm going to let me write a comment here, get total amount. So I'm going to use the use effect hook to calculate the total price, that is the total amount of the cart item. Okay, so I'm going to create a variable for total, then use the reduce function to iterate over the cart array, which is going to take 2 arguments, and that's going to be accumulator and correct item. Let me code that so you're going to see what I'm saying. So I'm using the use effect. I'm here to define it here. Use effects. Okay, so let's get to work. So here we're using use effects. Okay. Now I'm going to define a variable for total, which is going to store the main code. So we're using the reduce function. Let me type all of this first, then I'm going to explain. I explained earlier, I'm going to re-explain again. So here, accumulator. This is the argument I said earlier, and current item. And then I'll create another variable for price as number. And here I'll convert the price to a floating point number. Then I want to get the current item for price. Okay. Then I'll use an if statement to check if the number we passed is actually a number. So then it will return the accumulator. Here we return the accumulator plus the price as number multiplied by the current amount, current item dot amount. Okay, and here we're going to have 0. I'm going to explain all of that very soon. So we use the set total to update our total. And right here we're going to pass cat as the dependency. Okay, so let me explain what I just did here. What I did here, I used use effects here. Okay, the use effect hook to calculate the total price, this total price. Okay, I used the use effect hook to calculate the total price of the cat. Then I created a variable for total, then use the reduce function right here to iterate over the cat array. Okay, And the reduce function took two arguments, which is accumulator and the current item in the category. Then I created another variable for price as number. I converted this into a floating point number because prices are often stored as a string in data sets. Then now for this if statement, we need to check the validity of the price if it's a number or if it is not a number. So that's why we use this if statement, and this is none to check if the price that we passed here, if this price as number, remember that this price as number is what is storing the current items and the price. Okay, so we want to check if the price as number is truly a number, if it is a valid number. If it is not a valid number, it will simply return the current value of the accumulator, this. Okay, and if the price is valid, that is, if this price as number is truly a number after we have converted this to a floating point number, it is going to add the subtotal of the current item to the accumulator, which is this. Okay, it will add this subtotal here with the accumulator. Then finally, we'll now update our total using our set total. That is what the setter function is for. Then so right here now, we can now add this, we can now pass total so that every other component can have access to the total. Okay, without having to draw props. So now that we have the total, we still need to work on add to cart, we need to work on removing items from our cart, we need to work on increasing and decreasing amounts, we need to work on clearing all the items in our carts. All right, so the next thing we need to work on now, we also need to work on updating items in our carts. That is if we increase or we decrease. So the first thing we need to work on now is to add, the next thing we need to work on is to add an item to our carts. So here we're going to have add to carts, then we're going to get started. So we're going to create a function that will undo adding a product to the carts. For now, the cart is quite empty. So I'm going to define the function named add to cart, and it's going to take two parameters, our product and our ID. Okay, we have our product here already. Okay, so it's going to take two parameters. The add to cart function is going to take two parameters for product and ID. Then we'll create a new object for new item, which will be stored in the curly braces. Let me just write out the code, then I'm going to explain right now. So this is it. I'm creating a function for add to cart, and it is going to take two parameters, product and ID. And here we're going to create a new object, and we're going to give it a name of new item. Okay, new item. And I'm going to open the curly braces here, use the spread operator to create a shallow copy of our product, and that is going to have the key value pair. This is going to take amount. I'm going to set it to 1. So this is it right here. So we need to check if our add to cart is working. So let's log it in our console. .log. Let's add a new item. So we want that when our user clicks on this add to cart button, it should be added to the cart directly. So right here, we need to extract the add to cart from our shop context. We need to extract the add to cart from our shop context, but we are here to export it here. So here is going to have add to carts so that every other component can make use of it. So in the product list here, I'm going to extract add to carts. I just want to give it a try and see if our add to cart is working. So here I'm going to use an onClick function. Okay, so this is going to take add to carts, and it's going to take two parameters, product and ID. So before this, we need to create an arrow function first. So we have an arrow function for the add to carts. Now let us see if our console, if our add to cart is working. So now we're on the browser. This is our product here. Let me inspect so that we can view. So this is not responsive yet. We have not worked on the responsiveness. Where is it too big? So in our console, we have nothing here. So if I click on add to cart, you can see this item has been added to our cart. Let us see. The third item has been added to our cart. As you can see, it is working. So you can see that our add to cart is working perfectly well. Another thing we need to still work on is to update our item amount. So since our add to cart is working, I'm just going to clean up this console. Okay. Next thing we need to work on now is to update our item amount. Like if we had more than one quantity, we need to update it. It needs to show that you have added one, you have added two, you have added three. That is what we're trying to do now. So I'm going to use the use effects hook as well to update the carts, to update the total number of items in our carts. That is, if we have add one item to our cart, it should show that we have added an item. If we had two items, if we had 6, 10, 12, we want it to update it. But first, we need to check if there's anything on our cart at all. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. So here, I'm going to use the use effects hook. So we need to check if we have any item at all in our cart. Okay, then this is supposed to, no. Let me see what the problem is. So this is supposed to be 1. Then in here, we're going to have, okay, an arrow function here. Then we need to check if we have any item in our cart at all. If there's anything in our cart, then I'm going to create a state variable for amount, which is going to store the main logic. Okay, so I'm going to use the reduce method to iterate over each item in the cart and pass two arguments, which is going to be accumulator and current item. Okay, let us do that. I'll use the reduce function to iterate over every item in the cart accumulator. So this is accumulator. Then for current item as well, I'm going to explain this very soon. Then we'll return accumulator plus the current item dot amount. So this is 0. Then we're going to use our setter function, set amount, set item amount to update our amount. Okay, so this is showing what is this? Okay, this is supposed to be set item amount. What do we have earlier? Or we just set amount. It's supposed to be set item amount. Okay, so now everything is correct. So that is white spacing. Okay, and here we're going to pass cat as a dependency. So what I did here, let me explain. What I did here exactly is that I used the use effect to automatically update the total number of items we'll be having in our cart. The first step was to check if we have any item in our cart at all, then create a state variable for amount, and then I used the reduce method to iterate. I used the reduce method to iterate over each item in the cart and pass two arguments, accumulator and current item. Then return accumulator plus the current item times amount, and the accumulator starts with initial value of 0. Okay, then we're going to update the amount with the set item amount. All right, so that's what we did here to update our amount. Now the next thing we need to do is to check if an item is already in the cart. Okay, so here we want to check if an item is already in the cart. So I'm going to create another variable for cart item, but I'm going to use the find method to check for any existing item in the cart. If there's an item that exists already in the cart, it's going to return that item based on the ID. So let's get to code. Const cart item. So we're using the find method to find any item that already exists in the cart. So if there's any item that exists already in the cart that matches the particular item that we want to add to our cart, we're going to return that item based on ID. Okay. So what we did here basically is to check if we already have an item in the cart that we've added. Then we want to add a new one. We want to return that item based on ID. Okay. So we're using the find method to find any item in our cart that matches the item that we want to add to the cart again. So now what we're going to do next is to check if truly an item exists. Then we need to update our new carts. Let us say the user has already added an item already and they add another one. We need to update our carts to inform our new carts that this item already exists, which is the code that we have here. Okay, we're going to inform our new carts that this item already exists. You just need to update it in the carts. So we're going to be using if statements to do that. So now we're using our if statement. So if an item already exists in the carts, so now we're checking our cart item to see if an item truly exists in the carts. We want to update our new carts. So I'm creating a variable for new carts. Now what we're going to store here is the logic. So I'm going to use the spread operator to create a shallow copy of the cart array. Then use the map method to iterate over each item in the cart array. Okay, then I'm going to check if the ID of the current item that we have in the cart matches the ID of the item we want to re-add. Then we increase the quantity of the item by 1. What we're trying to achieve here is, let me show you in this other side. So now this item already exists in our cart. Okay, let us say the user, this is the item here. Let's say the user wants to add it again in the cart. It has updated in this cart and it's showing that the quantity is 2. Okay, so that is what we're trying to work on. That if, let's say, an item already exists in our cart and the user re-adds the item, we want to update the total, we want to update the quantity of the item. Okay, so now I'm going to use the spread operator to create a shallow copy of the array. So we're using spread operator to create a shallow copy of the array. Then we'll use the map method to iterate over each of the item. Okay. Then we check if the item we are adding based on ID matches the item we have in our carts. So we're checking. So if it does, then we're going to return this. I'm going to explain it now. So we're increasing the cart item by 1. Else, so if it does not exist in the carts, it should just return the item. So this spelling is wrong. Return CURN. Okay. So it's just going to return this. Okay. Then we're going to update our carts, our new carts. So we're going to update our new carts with set carts. And if any of that does not exist, so this is what we're trying to do. Okay. So this is the if statement here. Okay. Then here we use else statements in case if it is otherwise. So we're going to reset our cart, and here we'll use the spread operator to create another shallow copy of this. So this is what we have. We're checking if an item already exists in the cart. That's what we did here. And here, what we did basically is to check if this item truly exists in the cart. We want to update our new cart. Okay. Now the next thing we need to do is to write the function to remove an item from cart. So for remove an item from cart, I'm going to define a function and call it remove from cart. Okay, this function is going to remove an item from our cart page based on ID. So it's going to take a single parameter, which is ID, and it's going to represent the ID is going to represent the unique identifier of the item that we want to remove from the cart. So we use filter method here to create a new array that will remove the item. We use filter method basically to filter through the cart and remove the item we want to remove from that cart. Then we use the set cart to update our new cart because we're going to be having a new cart once we remove our item, once we remove any item from the cart. So we're going to use the set cart to update the new cart. So let's dive right into it. So I'm going to create a function remove from carts, and it's going to take just one parameter, which is the ID, that serves as the unique identifier for the item we want to remove in our cart. So I'm going to create another variable for new cart, because we'll be having a new cart after we filter the item from our cart. So we use the filter method to remove that item based on ID from our cart. So here I'm going to return CURN item, the item based on the ID. Okay. All right. So that is it. That is what we're doing. So right here, there's a little okay. So this is not supposed to be here yet. This is supposed to be like this. Yes. Okay. Everything is working well. This is the parameter. Okay. Okay. So for our code to look good, then we're going to update our new cards. We're using the set cards. We are updating the new cards after we have removed an item from the cards. Next thing we need to work on is to clear the entire cards. So let's say clear cards. So I'll create another variable for another function for clear cards, and it would not take any parameter at all because we're going to set the cart array to empty. Okay, so that's how we clear our cards. That's how we're going to clear our cards. Now something else that is on this card is, so this is the clear cards that we just worked on. We're yet to, you can see this is blank. We're yet to include it in the code. We're going to see what is wrong very soon. So right here, we can increase and decrease the quantity of an item. So the next thing we need to work on is to create a function that would increase the quantity of a specific item. Okay, so this is an item. We can increase it, we can decrease it. So that's what we're working on next. So let me write a comment here to increase the quantity of an item. So I'll create a function and I'll name it increase amount. And it's going to take just one parameter, which is going to be the ID that will serve as the unique identifier for the item we want to increase. So here we're going to have cart item for any item we have in the cart. So we need to find, we're using the find method to find any item we have in the cart so we can increase it. So based on ID. Okay. Then here we're going to have add to cart here, and it's going to take our cart item and ID. It's going to take two arguments. We're passing the add to cart function here, and it's going to take two arguments, the cart item and the ID. Okay, that means that if you are increasing the quantity, that means the amount of the item, you are adding it to cart as well. So we're trying to get that, we're trying to get the cart item that you're trying to increase here. Okay, so the next thing is to decrease the quantity of an item. Okay, so I'll create another function for decrease quantity, decrease amount, and it's going to take one parameter as well, which is the ID for the item that we want to decrease. So here as well, we're going to check for, we're going to use the find method as well to find the item that we want to decrease based on ID, then we'll decrease it. So here we're using the find method to find the item, and that's why we stored it in the cart item so that we can update it later. Then here we'll return the item based on ID. So we're checking if the item matches it. Okay. Okay, so there's an error. Let us see. So we're supposed to have a curly brace here. Let me cut this and then insert this curly braces. So this is going to end here. Okay, so this is going to be here. So all sorted. We created a function to decrease the quantity, which is the amount. It takes two parameter, and then in the cart item variable, we're trying to here we are storing all of this. Okay, we're trying to find an item based on ID in our carts that we want to decrease. Then we'll return it here once it matches the item. Okay, so now we use if statements to process it. So if this our new cart item, if it exists and if it matches it, then here goes the condition. Our new cart, we're going to use the map method to iterate over our item. Then we want to check if the item, the ID is equivalent to the existing item based on ID. Then we want to return a shallow copy of the item using the spread operator and the amount. So for the amount, we're going to decrease it by 1. We're going to decrease the cart item amount by 1. Okay. Then we use an else statement just in case if it does not exist. Else, we will return the item itself. Then we need to set our carts after all of this is done. We need to set the carts. So here we're just going to set the carts after the reduction is done. So we're setting our new cart. Okay. Then we use an else statement here. If the cart item and the amount is less than 2, we're going to remove carts. We're going to call the remove carts function to remove the entire cart. That means that if the item we have in the cart is less than 2, we should just remove the entire cart based on the ID. Okay. So for us to be able to use all of this logic that we have in any of our components, for all our components to be able to access all this, we need to pass them as values here. So here we have the products, the total, the add to cart. We need the cart itself. We need the remove from carts. We need the clear carts. That is the function to clear our carts. We need the increase amount to increase the amount of item in the carts. We need the decrease amount as well. And we need the item amount as well. So now that we have passed all of these values, we can now use them in any of our components. So our cart is ready. So now that we're done with all of this, let's view it in our browser. Okay, we have an error. Let us see what the error is. On our console, it says that reference error, new item is not defined at our shop context provider. Let's see. Okay, so we're having this error because new item is not defined. So which means that all of this check if an item already exists in the cart and to react the item in the cart is supposed to be inside our add to cart. Because if we're checking if an item already exists in our cart and then we want to update our cart after we verify that the item truly exists in the cart based on ID, it also means that we're adding an item to cart. So it's supposed to be the logic here before I remove an item to cart, the logic here is supposed to be inside adding an item to cart. So I just copied and pasted it inside adding an item to cart because we are checking if an item already exists in cart. And here, after verification, you want to update the cart with the new item you want to add. It also means that you're adding an item to cart. Okay. So let's see if I want to try and make it look clean. Control Z, sorry. Tab this. Okay. So now we have it. So this is add to cart here. Here we are checking if an item exists in the cart. If it truly exists in our cart item, we want to update our new cart. So it's also under the logic of adding an item to cart. It should also be under this function that we defined here. So let's see. So let's see if all of our logic in our show context provider is working. Let's start with this nav bar here. Let's see if we had an item to cart. Let us see if it's going to reflect here. So right here, I'm going to, here we're using the use context. We're using use context here. So this is going to take use context. Oh, sorry, use context. Then I'm going to import shop contexts. Contexts. Oh, okay. So what we need here is this cart amount, which is this, which is the item amount. That's what we need. So we need to extract this item amount, this logic here. Where is the logic? This is it. Okay, this is the logic that we're trying to use. So we need to extract it from our shop context. So right here, I'm going to extract it from shop context. Item amount, our use context is going to be the shop context. So now we want to get the item amount when the user adds anything to cart. So here it's just going to take item amount. So let us see. Currently, so now we're on the browser. Let me add an item to cart. I've added this to cart. As you can see, it has updated the quantity. I've added another one. It has updated. It's showing us that we had 2 items in our cart. If I add another item, this is third, fourth, fifth. Let us see. It has updated here that we have 5 items in our cart. Remember that we are here to work on the cart details page. We can't really see anything when we click on the cart. Okay, so let us start working on our carts page and our cart details page. So I'm just going to close this, the navbar and the product list. Now on our cart page, we need to use context, definitely, because we're going to be extracting some things that we need from our context provider. Okay, so I'm going to import shop context as well. Import shop context from our shop context. Okay, and then we're going to be extracting what we need. What we need basically here is the cart itself. We need the clear cart to delete the entire cart. We need the total here. We need the quantity here to get the amount. That is what we call it, item amount, which serves as the quantity to get the number of items that we have in the cart. We need the total here for the subtotal, and we still need the total here for the total costs. So that's what we're going to be extracting from our shop context provider. So what we're basically going to extract is this total, okay, the cart, the clear cart, and the item amount. Okay, so on our cart here, I'm going to destructure it. Here we have carts, we need the cart, we need clear carts, we need total, and we need item amounts from our shop context. Shop context. Okay, so let's get to work. So here for this item, here we set it to 0 earlier because we don't have the amount of item that we need. So here we're using the item amount to know the number of items that we have in the cart. And for this trash icon to delete the entire cart, I'll use an on click to call the clear cart function. Okay, so this is going to take clear cart, right? And then here, so right here, remember that we extracted this cart itself. So here we're rendering our cart detail component, but we need to check if our item is, if let's say the cart itself, the item in the cart is greater than 0, then we're going to render the cart details. That means if we have any item in the cart, then we're going to display the detail of the cart. But if we don't have any item in the cart, we're going to display that your cart is empty. All right. So if we have anything in our cart, we want to display the detail of what we have in the cart. The detail include the picture, the title, the price, the quantity, and the total. But we have no item in our cart. We want to display that the cart is empty. So I'm going to cut this, Ctrl X. Then here is the logic. I open my curly braces, cat.length. Now, we want to check if it is greater than 0. If it is, then we want to map. We use the map method to get the detail of all the item in the cart, right? Then here, we're going to render this. Okay, I hope you understand that. So if it is not, that's what we want to do right here. We want to display a p tag, and we're using a p element to display that your cart is empty. Okay, so right now what we did here is check the length of the carts, the length of the items in the cart. So if whatever is in our cart is greater than 0, we have mapped the item using the map method we have mapped the item in the cart method, and then we're going to display the detail of the cart. Okay, we're going to display the detail of the item. But if it is not greater than 0, that means if we have nothing in our cart, it's going to display that our cart is empty. What we just did here is we use ternary operator to write this logic. Okay, then here we're going to pass item as props. Item and the key as well, which is going to serve as the unique identifier. We're displaying the item based on ID. So since we render our cart detail components here, the item that we're displaying will be based on the ID. Okay. Next thing we need from our shop context is this total here. So we need the total here in our subtotal. Okay, this is the subtotal. So we need it here. But before that, we need to know our item here as well. Item amount. So know the quantity of the item. You remember this is the right hand side that contains the cart summary. Okay, the cart summary is also displaying the quantity of the item we have in the cart. So next thing we need to do is this subtotal, but we need to check if the total is a number. If it is a number, we want it to display the total, the value. So right here, I'm going to use a dollar. So what we just did now is to check if for our subtotal, we're checking if the value is not a number. Any stand for is not a number. We want it to display 0, but if it is a number, it should display the total. All right. So I'm just going to copy and paste these as well in the total costs. Okay, so let us go through what we did again. Here, we have imported our shop context, right? Then we extracted the values that we're going to be needing, the logic. The main purpose of shop context I explained earlier that it allows any of the components to have access to data without having to drill props, without having to pass props from one component to another, from a component tree to another. So we've done all of the logic right here. We have all of the logic here. Okay. So for this cards now, we have extracted what we need. We have extracted our cards. We have extracted clear cards, total, and item amount. Cards is for our main cards. That is our cards page, the state of our cards. The clear cards is to clear the entire cards, to clear the entire item in the card. The total is to get the total amount that we have in the cards, and the item amount is for the quantity of item we have in the cart. So right here, we use the item amount here so that we can get the items. Remember that we've extracted it here. Then for this icon, for this trash icon, that is to delete cards, we use an on-click function to make use of this clear cards logic. Then here, we're checking if the item in the cart is greater than 0. Then we want to render our component, our cart detail component. Okay, after which we have mapped our cart item. We've used the map method to iterate over all the items in our cart. Then here we pass item as props, and here as well we passed the key because it serves as a unique identifier to identify each of the item based on the ID. So if this logic is false, that means if the items in our cart is not up to 0, okay, it is going to display that our cart is empty. So that is just the logic of what we did here. Then for this right hand side here, we use the item amount as well. Here we now checked if our total is not a number. That means if it's going to display as a string, it should just display 0. But if it is a number, it should display the actual total. So that is what we did here in our carts. So let's check the carts page. So now we're on the carts page. As you can see, this has been updated. Can you see it? The item has been updated to 5 because earlier on I selected 5. Let me select one more. Let me just select this. You can see that it's now showing that we selected 6. So the item amount is 6. You can see it here. Item amount is 6. This is the icon to delete the entire cart. We're yet to style this. So this is showing that we have 6 items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are yet to work on the cart detail. That is why we can't see what we selected. Okay, but we have the subtotal already because we are adding it based on the ID and the total cost as well. We have it too. So now let us work on the cart details. Now let us open our cart details page. Sorry, I think I have hiccups. So now here we're going to pass item here. Okay, as a prop. Now let us start our work. Before we start anything, we need to extract what we need from shop context, right? So right here, let me import shop context. Import shop context. Okay, so here as well, we need our use context, right? So we have all of that. Then we need to extract consts. We need to extract remove from carts, the remove from cart function, the increase. I'll explain why we need to extract this. Increase amount function and decrease amount function from use context. Sorry, from shop context. Use context. We're using shop context. Okay. So if we check this, right? This is our cart detail. This parts here. This image, title, the quantity, the price, and the total. That's our cart details. Let me add like 2 more items so that we can see. This is 3. Okay, this is what we have in the cart detail. The cart page itself is what contains this header, this shopping cart, the items, the icon to delete the entire cart. The cart page itself has the left and the right center. Okay, the left center is this part, the right is the cart summary. Do you understand? The left center is all of this, the right is the cart summary. So within the cart page, we have our cart details. The cart details contain our image, title, the icon and the text to remove a specific item. So that is why we have it here. That is why we have remove from cart. You know that the logic of remove from cart, let me show you here. The logic of remove from cart is that we should remove a specific item from our cart. It's different from clearing the cart. Okay, so that is why in the cart details we're extracting remove from cart and we're not extracting clear cart. Then for this increase amount, here we can increase the amount of item in our cart. That's why we extracted increase amount. Then for decrease amount as well, you can decrease the amount. That is why we extracted the function for decrease amount too. Okay, so that is basically it. Then now we need to destructure our item in the sense that we need to destructure what we're going to be using, what we want to show in our cart detail. So here we need the ID because we're working with each item based on ID. We need the title, we need the image, we need price, and we need amount. Everything will be equal to what? Item. Okay, so now we can start our GSX. So I'm going to create a div tag and give it the class name of cart item. Then we're going to have our product detail. So another div tag for products details. First of all, we're going to have an image. That's the first thing, right? So this is going to take image. Remember that we structured this image in item. After the image, we're going to have another div tag for product info. So in the product info, we're going to have an h3 tag for our title. That is the name of the product, right? After the name of the product, we're going to have another div tag for cart remove item. To remove an item, the icon I showed earlier, I'm going to explain that also. And that is going to contain the trash icon. I think it starts with fee trash. Okay, this is it. Okay, so when you click on, let me show you something. When you click on this icon, it's going to remove it. It's going to remove that specific item. So here on this div, this is going to have remove. The text is going to be removed. So in the div tag, we're going to use an on-click function, right, to call the remove from cart icon. To call the remove from cart function based on ID. Okay, so here is going to be on click, right? Then we want to call the remove from cart. Oh, I think I just made a mistake. Okay, this is the proper way. So here we're using the remove from cart. Okay, and here we're going to pass just one parameter, and it's going to be ID. Okay, because we're removing each item based on their ID. Okay, so we have all of that. This is working well. Now we're going to create another div for our quantity. Okay, we're going to have two buttons for increase and decrease. So we're going to have button, and the first button is going to take the remove. Let me see if I can get the remove icon. Okay, this is it. No, I don't think this is what I want. Okay, this is what I want to remove, right? Then we're going to have a span tag for the amount. All right, then we're going to have another button again to increase, right? So this is for increase. Add, let's see, from the options of, this is loading. Okay, let us see. IO add, no, IOMD add. Let me see if I can get that. Okay, so this is what I want. This is the icon I want to use. So for this decrements, let me call it decrement here. We need to call this decrease amount, right? We need to call this function that we extracted from short context. So once that when our user clicks on this icon, it should reduce it, it should decrease it by 1. So here I'm going to use an on click function, but we'll call this decrease to decrease amount based on the ID also. So I'm passing the ID as parameter. So right here as well, to increase as well, we're going to call for increase amount based on the ID also. Okay, what else do we need here? The next thing is the price and the total, right? We need to create a div tag for price. Within it, we're going to have our price. Okay, and we need to work on the total as well. So I'm creating a div tag for total. And here, the total, we're going to use this logic. $sign, right? Another dollar. Want to convert this pass float, yes. The price multiplied by the amount. Then we want to fix it to do 2 decimal place, so that we don't want. So this is it. This is the total. Okay. So let us check it on the browser. Right now we have an empty cart. It's showing us that our cart is empty. Your cart is empty. Okay. Now let me add this item to cart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. You can see here we have 5 items in our carts. As you can see, it's not looking all that good because we're here to add CSS styling. But I believe everything is working. Let us test it out. So let's see if we can increase. You can see we can increase. The total is increasing as well. We can decrease as well. We can remove it, can we? Yes. We can increase it, we can decrease, we can remove, and our total is working, our subtotal is working, the item is working as well. So let us tell. I'm going to import our cat.css. Then we can start styling. Let me close this. Okay, I'm not going to close that yet because I'm going to be using it. So let us start with our cat container. Display is going to be flex. Justify content space between. Padding of what? 20 pixels. We'll start with the left hand side. So for this left, the width, I'm going to set to 65%. Background color is going to be white. Padding as well is going to be 20 pixels. The border radius is going to be 10 pixels. Now for the right hand side too, the width is going to be 30%. Background color is going to take this color code. The padding is also going to be 20 pixels for this right hand side. And the border radius is going to take 10% as well. And now to the cat header on the left hand side of the cards. So for the cat header, the display is going to be flex, display flex, justify content to be space between, margin top is going to be 20 pixels, and the font weight is going to be bold. Let's see. So for this delete cards, we need to increase the size. So cat header, the delete cards in the cat header, the font size is going to take 22 pixels. This second cat header has a span tag, right? So we're using this span. It has 4 spans. So cat header and the span, we want to set the font size of it to 20 pixels. Margin left is going to take 90 pixels. Now what else do we have? So this is what we have now. The next thing is this cat details. But remember that the cat details is what wraps the detail component, right? So we have to work on the detail component itself. So we're going to start with the cat item, right? So cat item, display will be flex as well. Justify content space between, align all the items to the center. Then margin top is going to be 20 pixels. Padding will be 10 pixels. Border bottom will be 1 pixel solid, and this color code, right? So what else do we have with the cat details? We have the product details. So for the product details, the display as well is going to be flex. Justify the content space between as well. Align all the items in the center. And the max width is going to be 50%. Now we have an image in the product details. So the image, we're setting it to 60 pixels. The height is also going to take 60 pixels. Margin right is going to be 20 pixels. Let us see. So you can see this is what we have. Then we need to work on this H3 tag. Okay, so the H3 tag is inside the product info container. So we're going to have the product info H3. Margin will be set to 0. The font size is going to be 18 pixels. We also have a paragraph tag in the product info. So the color, we'll set it to this color code. Margin is going to be set to this value. And we have a button as well. So this background, we're going to set it to none. We don't need any background. The border, none. The color is going to take this color code. Okay, and the cursor will set the pointer. Margin top is going to be 10 pixels. So for this delete item, where is it? Okay, we're not there yet. Once we get there, I'll explain. What else do we have? So we have this quantity. For the quantity, display, flex, align item, center. Then in the quantity, we have buttons, right? The width was setting it to 30 pixels because it's going to be a very small button. The height as well is going to be 30 pixels. Border will set it to none. Background color is going to be this color code. Then our cursor is pointer. Display is flex, right? Align item in the center. Justify content in the center. And the font size is going to be 18 pixels. Oh, what is this? Font size 18 pixels. What else do we have? We have a span tag in this quantity, inside the quantity container, right? So we're going to have the quantity and the span tag, and we'll set the margin. Okay, what is left is the price and the total. So the price, that was a mistake. Let me copy it again. I'm going to copy this price and then the total. The font size, we're going to set it to 16 pixels, and the color is going to take this color code. Now that we're done styling the cart details, let us see. We're here to style the right hand side of our cart page. So let's start with the right cart. Let me see the H2 tag. We're starting with this H2 tag for cart summary. The font size is going to be 24 pixels. Margin bottom is going to be 20 pixels. What else do we have? We have summary item. So for the summary item, display is flex. Justify content, space between. Margin bottom is going to be 10 pixels. Okay, so we have how many summary items? 4. But this particular one has total costs alongside. So we need to style this separate. So summary item, the total costs, the font width, we want it to be bold, and the font size will take 18 pixels. So this is what we have right now. We can increase, we can decrease, we can increase, we can decrease, we can increase, we can decrease, we can remove, right? We can clear, right? We can go back here, add this, add this, add as much as we like, and it's going to reflect here. The item here is reflecting the prices, the total, and also everything is looking good here. What is left for us to style here is the checkout button. Okay, we're going to style the apply button, but let me start this checkout button first. The width is going to take 100%. Background color is going to take this color code. The text color is going to take white, right? Padding is going to take 15 pixels. Border, we'll set it to none. Cursor is going to be pointer. And margin top is going to be 20 pixels. Now for the apply button. The background color is going to take this color code. The color of the text is going to be white. Border, set it to none. Padding, 10 pixels, 15 pixels, this should work. Cursor here is going to be pointer. And margin top is going to be 10 pixels. Oh, is there a problem? Let me see. Let me reload. Our cart is empty. Let us see what the problem is. Let me add 1 or 2. Oh, let me see. Okay, so there's basically no problem. I don't know why. I just did that. So this is everything that. So we can increase, decrease, and then what else do we need to work on? Let us see what we're trying to build here. What is left for us to work on? We have our article already. Okay, our product detail. This is quite simple. We don't have much here. So let us work on this. So now I'm going to cancel this, all of everything about concerning cats, because we're done with cats. The next thing is our product details, right? So this is what we're trying to build. So when we click on this, we want to see something here. So the first thing I'm going to do is use context, because we're going to need it. That is the advantage of short context. You can have access, any of the components or pages can have access to data from the short context. Now, in viewing detail, we need use params. This is a hook that allows you to access a URL parameter in React. Okay, so here I'm going to import params, which it's more like a short form for parameter. Import use params from React router. Okay, this is a hook that allows us to access URL parameter in React.js. And also, I'm going to import our product data from our data. And I'm also going to import our shop contexts from our shop contexts, right? So here, let me show you something. Here we can add to carts in our product detail. We can add to carts. That means that we need to extract the add to carts function into our product detail. So right here, I am going to extract our add to cart function, add to cart, from our shop contexts. Okay. Now we need to get the product ID. Get product ID. So here, ID, use params. All right. And now we need to get each product based on their ID. So we're going to create a variable for products and store this logic. Let me create this. Let me write a comment. I love to write comment. Get products based on ID. Oh, why is everything in caps lock? So I'm creating a variable for products, const product, and then we're going to store this logic. So here's what we're going to do. I created a variable for products, and we're going to use the find method to search through the product data array and return the product URL parameter based on the ID. So what we're going to return, what we want to store in products is whatever we search using the find method. So let me show you something. This is our product data, right? So we want that when you click on any of the products in the home page, it should lead you to the product detail that has the same ID, that matches with the ID of what you clicked on. Okay, so if you click on the second product, you should see the detail of the second product, not the detail of the first product or the third product. You should see the detail of whatever you click on. So that's why we're going to use the find method to search through the product data array and return the product URL parameter based on the ID. So we're using product data dot find or find them products, right? Then here we want to return the products that we find based on the ID. So we're going to convert this to pass int to an integer. Okay. Then we can now start with our JSX. I need to create a div tag for product detail. It has two sides. We have the detail left and the detail right. Before that, let me do for detail right. So the left hand side is going to have the image. Okay, so this is going to take product dot image, right? And on the right hand side, we need the product title, product dot title. That is the name of the product, and then we need the price as well. I'll give the class name of product price. Okay, we need the dollar sign. Then we're going to have product the price. Also, we need the description. And then here, we're going to have product dot description. And then a button to add to carts. Remember earlier, I said that we need add to cart function, right, from our shop context. That is why we extracted add to cart here. So now we're going to use the onClick function, onClick. Then we'll create the function for add to carts. Okay, and we're going to pass two arguments, product and ID, because we're adding to carts based on the product ID. So basically, this is what we have. Okay, we're here to style this. This is why it's looking little. Let's see if our button is working. You can see it has added to carts. And I click on it again, it is adding. I click on it again, it is adding. And when we open the carts, you see this is what we have, right? So let us go back to the styling. Let us style it so it will look like this. So we need to import the CSS, import the product details.css. So now we are here. We're going to start with the product details. So for product details, display is taking flex, padding is 80 pixels. And then we have the left and the right. On the left hand side, we have the image. So the width of the image is going to take 460 pixels. Now to the right. So on the right, we're going to set the padding to 70 pixels. And then we have an H3 tag as well. We'll set the font size to 30 pixels. Then on the right as well, we have the product price. The font size, we're going to set it to 22 pixels. The color will take red. And the margin top will be 10 pixels. We'll have the description as well. So for the details rights, we have this description. Font size is 20 pixels. The color is going to take this color code. And margin top is going to be 15 pixels. The last thing is the button. So for the button, we're setting the padding to 1 rem and 3.6. Margin top is going to take 15 pixels. Border will be none. Background will be red. And the text color will be white. So let us see. Oh. So right now we have this product image is looking small. That means that our containers are sharing the same thing. Let me see. Okay, so this cart detail has product details here. And our product detail as well has a class name of product details. So let's just give this product detail info. Right. Since we are trying to get the information about product detail, and this will also take product detail info. So you can see that everything is now working perfectly well. Let me show you the entire code. So you're going to see what I just corrected. I corrected this product detail info because our cart detail here has the same class name with this. Okay. Then this is the entire styling right here. So let us check what else. Let me see another product. This is what we have. Let us check for another product. This is what we have. Everything is looking okay. Everything is working well. Let's see this as well. You can see it's looking very, very nice. Very, very okay. See this. So everything is working, and we can add them to carts. Can you see? we can add it to our cart. This is for the skirts. Add to cart. It is on our cart page. You can increase, you can decrease, you can increase, you can remove, you can increase, decrease, and even delete the entire cart. So what next here that we need to build? Okay, so we still need to work on the navigation bar, this shadow, and we also need to make it fixed, and our footer as well. So I think that's all. After this navigation and the footer, then work on the responsiveness, because every website needs to be responsive. So let us work on the navigation bar first. So we're done with this product detail, cart detail, product details. So let me close this, and then I open the GSX file for navigation. So right here, I need to use window the add event listener for scroll, so that when we scroll, our navigation bar will be fixed, right? And then we'll try to create the function. So we're creating a variable for navbar. So documents, the query selector, we're selecting navbar, this navigation, the entire container for navigation, right? That's what we're working on. So here, navbar, this navbar right here, that's the variable here, the class lists, the toggle. This is a pure JavaScript code. Toggle, it's double G, okay? So when it is active, and then we scroll down, let me the window dot scroll on y-axis. Once we scroll more than 100 pixels, then this will be active, okay? So the next thing I will need to do is to style this active, the active property. That's what we need to style. So I'll open my CSS. Now I'm going to have dot navbar dot active. I need to set the padding to 20 pixels. The position would be fixed. Oh, sorry. Position will be fixed. That means that once we scroll down more than 100 pixels, the position of the navigation will be fixed. We'll justify the content space around. The top will set it to 0, and the Z index is going to take 1000. The width definitely is going to be 100%. Yeah. Background color is going to take this color code, and then box shadow is going to take this value, and this color code. So the transition as well will be 0.5 seconds. So let us see. Oh, it's not working. Let us see what's the problem. Oh, okay. This is supposed to be scroll. How come I missed that? So when you scroll on y-axis in the window, let's see. Can you see that it is working perfectly well? You see? So the navigation remains fixed. And then the next thing we need to work on is the footer before we work on the responsiveness. Our footer is a very simple one. So I'm going to create a class name for a div type with a class name for footer. Then I'm going to have another div type for footer content, and then the socials, footer socials. And then outside the footer, we're going to have for copyrights, footer copy. Okay, so for the footer content, we're going to have the footer name, which is going to take an h2 tag for the name of the e-commerce. Then for our social, we're going to use Facebook icon. So we're using Facebook icon. We're going to be using Instagram icon. Okay. And then we're going to be using Twitter icon as well. So then I'm going to give each of these a class name of footer icon. First name of footer icon. I'm just going to copy and paste it here. Paste it here. Then right here, I'm going to have a paragraph tag for copyright. So I copied and pasted this. Then let us style it. Import the /footer dot css, and then we need to include it in our app. So here we're going to have footer. Click on tab. So let us style our footer. So to start with, we're going to start with this. Okay. So the footer, the background is going to be black. The color will be white. The padding bottom, padding bottom. We'll take 3 rem. What else do we have here? We have our footer contents. It's going to display for X. Justify content space between padding of 30 pixels. And we're going to have border bottom of 2 pixels solid, and this color code. Then also our footer. Okay, I think we made a mistake here. This is supposed to be inside our footer content, the name and the social, right? Okay, so for the footer social, and the footer icon itself, I'm starting the footer icon. The font size is going to be 22 pixels. 22 pixels. Margin left is going to take 10 pixels, right? Then for this copyright, the container, text align center, and the padding is going to be 15 pixels. Okay, I think all is okay. Okay, this Twitter icon is not defined. So let me see. Import BS Twitter from React icon BS. Okay, so this is the footer. Oh, why is this outside the box? Let us fix it. So the copyright is outside our footer container. So we just need to cut and paste it inside our footer container. Then we have this. So everything is complete. As you can see, you can add to carts, you can view a page, you can view your cart page, you can add more to the carts, you can increase, decrease, clear your carts and all of that.